There is a singular type of soul that Saint Faustina Kowalska described with an intensity that cannot be ignored: souls who, if they disobey the divine call, will face incomparably deeper sufferings both in purgatory and in extreme cases in hell. But hidden within this warning is also a promise. If you respond faithfully to this call, you will not only avoid these torments, but will be raised to a celestial glory so intense that it surpasses even that of ordinary saints shining with a unique splendor born of the most intimate love with God. This is not merely a revelation about danger, but an invitation to the greatest spiritual adventure of your life, to discover whether you are one of these chosen souls, to understand what that means, and above all, to learn the concrete steps to transform this vocation into eternal victory. Keep reading, and you will not only grasp the depth of this mystery, but will walk away with a practical spiritual roadmap to live up to this extraordinary grace, or if you prefer, to flee the abyss that neglecting this mission can open. Saint Faustina recorded profound visions about purgatory, especially in the final pages of her diary, and each carries an urgent message. In one such revelation, she recounts that upon briefly entering the chapel, the Lord revealed something extraordinary to her. Among His chosen ones, there are souls specially marked, called to a higher holiness, to an exceptional and intimate union with Him. These are the so-called Seraphic souls, those for whom God asks a more intense, purer, and more constant love. Though they live in the same world, the same convent, the same community, these souls receive a distinct interior touch, a silent yet clear call from the Holy Spirit. The response to this call, however, depends entirely on them. They may embrace it generously or resist it, hardening their hearts. This freedom is both a gift and a constant test, for true love only blossoms when freely chosen, even in the face of difficulty. And it is precisely here that the gravity of the situation lies. Saint Faustina was led to understand that there is a specific place in purgatory reserved for those souls who, having received greater gifts, failed to respond as they should. The suffering there is described as the most severe of all, not as arbitrary punishment, but due to the very nature of a soul that, having known God's love more deeply, feels with greater agony the distance separating it from Him. This pain is not physical but spiritual. It is the heart's anguish that loves intensely, yet finds itself separated from the source of all love by its own choices. This mark of divine election is indelible. It shines with incomparable splendor in heaven, burns with more intense pain in purgatory, and should the soul be lost, transforms hell into an even more lacerating torment, for it knows clearly what it has lost forever. There is no escape from this reality. It is a spiritual identity that endures in every state of existence, because the knowledge of God once received is never erased. If you feel an inner longing for a deeper prayer life, a special love for the souls in purgatory, an ardent devotion to divine mercy and the Blessed Virgin Mary, this is no mere coincidence or sentimentality. It is a sign. You are likely among these seraphic souls, not by your own merit, but by grace. This is not a cause for pride, but for holy fear. For with this grace comes proportional responsibility. The more one receives, the more is required. And here lies the spiritual, double-edged sword. Either we advance courageously, embracing the cross with love, and will shine in heaven with a glory surpassing that of ordinary angels, or we succumb to temptation, neglect the promptings of grace, and face a purgatory of extreme suffering, or, in the worst case, an eternal damnation made even more painful by the clear knowledge of what was rejected. This duality is not theoretical. It is lived daily in every choice between good and evil, generosity and comfort, fidelity and distraction. Given this, how should we proceed? First, cultivate an intimate friendship with your guardian angel, not as a distant figure, but as a constant companion, perhaps even more powerful than ordinary angels, since he was assigned to a soul of election. He is your invisible guide, protector, and intercessor. Trust him, speak with him, and ask him to lead you spiritually into purgatory, where many souls, perhaps even other seraphic souls, suffer intensely for not having fully responded to God's love. To pray for them is to pray for yourself, for you share the same vocation. Offering indulgences, especially partial ones, often overlooked yet immensely valuable, is an act of mercy that relieves souls and strengthens your own journey. Every prayer, every sacrifice offered, every act of charity done in their name not only liberates them, but also purifies you and draws you closer to God. Moreover, it is vital to recognize with radical humility that on our own we are nothing. At any moment we can fall. The grace that sustains us today is not our achievement, but a free gift. Thus, every spiritual victory must be returned to God in thanksgiving, never claimed as personal merit. We must simultaneously rejoice at having been chosen and tremble before the magnitude of our responsibility. Silent, heartfelt prayer is a powerful weapon. Jesus told Saint Faustina that her silent gaze disarmed him, that her heart called to him with such force that all heaven trembled. This teaches us that prayer depends not only on words, but on the depth of interior desire. Indeed, we can invoke Jesus from the depths of our soul, even in silence, and he will hear. This contemplative prayer is accessible to all, yet especially fruitful for souls called to deeper intimacy with God. Another crucial point is readiness to respond to the pleas of the souls in purgatory. Saint Faustina recounts an episode in which a soul troubled her until she promised to offer the next day's indulgences for her, and immediately the soul departed. This shows that these souls cannot act on their own. They depend entirely on our intercession. Sometimes a sudden thought to pray for someone may be a direct appeal from purgatory. We must discern with charity and act generously, without delay. Saint Faustina's generosity, offering all future indulgences for an unknown soul, is a model for us. This is not about grand gestures, but constant availability, an open heart to another's invisible pain. Jesus himself commanded Saint Faustina, "Enter purgatory often, for they need you there." This is not a suggestion, but a spiritual mandate as real as the one he gave the apostles. Go, baptize, heal, cast out demons. To enter purgatory frequently means, in practice, to keep these souls alive in daily prayer, to offer sacrifices for them, to pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet, especially at the hour of mercy, 3 p.m., and to trust fully in the Church's inexhaustible treasury, indulgences, prayers, and the merits of Christ and the saints. All this, guided by your guardian angel's hand, makes you a living instrument of divine mercy. This entering is not physical, but spiritual. It is the soul's immersion into compassion, solidarity, and continuous intercession. Thus, being a seraphic soul is not a title of honor, but a call to heroic holiness, constant vigilance, radical humility, and boundless charity. It is walking a spiritual tightrope where every step demands grace, courage, and surrender. But if we remain faithful, the reward will not be heaven alone. It will be intimate participation in God's glory, a splendor that will reflect for all eternity the love we chose to return on earth. This glory is not static. It is dynamic, ever-growing, eternally nourished by the beatific vision and the reciprocal love between soul and God. And that is why you are reading these words now, because you have been called, not to boast, but to tremble, to pray, to love, and to act with urgency, with faith, and with mercy. Your life, your prayers, your offered sufferings carry eternal weight. Do not underestimate your role in God's plan of salvation. You are not here by accident. You were chosen to be light, intercessor, instrument of mercy, and the time to respond is now. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.